Hello everyone. Today you're going to see a video on the trail terrain from the top of Whitetop Mountain to Massey Gap in Virginia Highlands State Park. And Arnie's going to give you her thoughts about why this is a prep for the 2018 Thru Hike.
Yes, the reason this is a prep video, I was going to add some other stuff to it, and I thought, you know, knowledge is a wonderful thing. Now this is Virginia. You'll have 500 miles under your belt when you get to Virginia Highlands, whereas when we hiked it, we had 70 miles, 60 miles, something like that. So total different. But what I'm sharing in these videos about the rocks in Virginia, the seasoned, very strong, fit hikers all complained about the rocks. People that we ran into on the trail as they caught up with us and passed us, thru hikers, young, middle-aged, old, everybody talked about the rocks and how they were tearing up their feet. So this particular one is the first time that they were a real challenge for me. Now, early riser, of course, you know, we all know and respect him, and we're all sort of connected to him through what he's doing. So, and he's one of the few people that has talked about the rocks in Virginia. Kiwi did, and he did. Unfortunately, we were there before they were there. And so, early riser, I'm sorry I didn't get our videos up so that you would know ahead of time. But, you know, his videos went up after we were past that. So, you know, he didn't know ahead of time. We didn't know ahead of time. But anyway, so these videos are to let you see what you're going to face when you get there so you can be prepared for it. And just to kind of support that, when he went from Lost Mountain Shelter to Old Orchard, that basically took him over Mount Rogers. And that was when he was sick. Y'all that watched his videos know he got really sick. And then it was also very, very cold and totally covered in snow. So his comment at the end of the day was the reason he had not been able to do quite as many miles, besides the fact that he was sick, was it was rough terrain, deep snow, very taxing. And it was the second day he was sick. But the rough terrain part, of course, for him it was under snow. I can't even imagine doing that under snow, even after 500 miles of hiking and being as fit as he is, but he did. So then, when he got to day 35, he's talking, coming out of Harrisburg. And he expressed that he had gotten a comment from a viewer who was saying, you know, if you're, and I don't remember the exact words of the comment, something like, well, if you're so troubled by these rocks in Virginia, I can't wait to see what happens to you in Pennsylvania. And so he was kind of giving his response to that, which you may have remember if you watched it. But anyway, he said, you know, Pennsylvania, I know there's rocks in Pennsylvania, but I'm going to let G read the quote of what he said about the rocks in Virginia and why they were a little bit of a mental challenge for him. So here's what he said.
Because I ain't never heard of a damn rock in Virginia.
So that's what he said. So his point was that, and those are all of us that were athletes, you know, you get mentally prepared for things. A lot of different people get mentally prepared for things. So you come into Virginia and you don't know that you're going to have to deal with rocks, you're not mentally prepared for them. Plus, no, they're not as bad as Pennsylvania. I haven't seen Pennsylvania, but I've heard enough people, including early riser, Steve Walker, who talked about the rocks. He did talk about them in 2016. Have all said, and of course Kiwi quit at Daleville, so he didn't get to talk about Pennsylvania versus Virginia. But it's the first time that you really come across any kind of a length of these things, and they are hard on the feet. And especially for this point in the hike, it's kind of like, you know, first grade is hard because you're a first grader, but it's not as hard as college. But when you get to college, you're a college student. So it's kind of the same thing with hiking. You get to Virginia, you're in 500 miles, you're experiencing something that you haven't experienced before. So at that point in the hike, it's tough. when we get to New Hampshire and, well, the Pennsylvania rocks, get through those, then yeah, Virginia rocks will seem like child's play. But when you get to them for the first time, and especially people that are doing section hiking or doing flip-flops, if you start at Damascus or south of Damascus and it's early on in your hike, which puts you kind of more like where we were last season, then, you know, it may be even more troublesome. But point is, that's what these videos are about. So 2018 preparation is have some knowledge about what you're going to face when you get to Virginia. Yes, it's down the road from where you are now, but that's what I got to share. And there's a lot of detail on the terrain, even if you just kind of file it in the back of your mind and just know that when you come to Virginia, yes, it's a lot less as far as how steep the elevations are for what you will have done in Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee. Not as taxing in a lot of ways, which the other thru hikers can tell you a lot more about that than I can, since we haven't hiked that yet. But you are going to have to deal with rocks and feet getting kind of beat up on the rocks, and being prepared for that will help you. So, hope everybody enjoys the video. Sorry for going round and round with it, but I do that. That's just who I am. So everybody have a blessed day and get out and hike.
Nancy and I are here close to the summit of Whitetop Mountain. We have about a 500-600 foot descent down to Elk Garden.
Well, everybody have a blessed day and get out there and hike. And that is behind us southbound. Front of us, we're headed up slightly and then downhill, and look at the sky. It's an Appalachian Trail day. And we're off, heading from the open area into the trees. Lots of fallen leaves covering roots. A few little rocks. Looks like somebody's had a tent here before, maybe. Good spot. Blocked a little bit by the trees and the hill over here. And just 50 feet or so more, there's another area where a lot of people are camping. Looks like room for several tents in here, and looks like several tents have been in here at some point or another. And here we are at the sign, Virginia 600, which is Elk Garden, 2.5 miles. Deep Gap 4, Mount Rogers, 6.5 miles. They have lots of white blazes painted on the trees here frequently. As you can see, it pretty much looks the same everywhere, so you could lose it at some point where it looks like there's a couple of different options without all these white blazes, so I think we're grateful for them. I thought this looked pretty cool through here with all these rocks. Look at that tree. Lots of large rocks on either side of the trail. Not too bad on the trail itself. There's supposed to be a piped spring in here somewhere, but I haven't seen it. I may have passed it and missed it. He calls it gravity. I call it muscle. Steps like that, stronger legs, stronger muscles. You can go faster. This is a very gently sloping downhill. We should enjoy this. Maybe it'll stay this way all day. Getting down under 30 pounds to closer to 20, that counts food and water, is really a huge deal when you're hiking and climbing in areas where there's anything like this. It's a big deal all the time, but it's a huge deal in a place like this. As we continue on. I would not come here when this is wet, or snow, or ice, obviously. There's the shot of Mount Rogers, highest point in Virginia. You were thinking this would be a nice downhill 3-mile walk in the park, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize it would be scrambling over boulders and
Well, some parks might have boulders, you know.
been dodging a lot of big rocks, whatever you call them.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun. A little bit challenging and very pretty.
And not excessively hard.
No.
So this is a reliable water source on gut hooks, said to be a reliable water source. And someone left a note, flow up top past the downed log. But at least you know you can climb up there and get your water if you need it. Okay, G, so you scouted out this particular hike, and we started at about 5,165 feet. And what have we gone, about 1.5 miles?
We've gone 8/10, and we've gained 2 feet.
We're now at 5167. But we've been going down and up and down and up and down and up. So what do we have left?
We have 1.6 miles left and about 700 some odd feet to give up.
To descend down. Okay. Well, it's been a blast. It's really a lot of fun, but it just goes to show that you can't tell even looking at
looking at a topo map with the contour lines, you think it's going to be a nice, easy stroll through the park. It's been anything but it's been enjoyable.
Yeah.
A little bit challenging, just enough to keep the blood moving, but I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that slow, easy walk to the vehicle right now.
Yeah, the walk in the park. That's what we're looking for. Where is the walk in the park?
And where's the water? It's supposed to be a stream here.
So we've passed a couple of sources that are supposed to be reliable and aren't, but we don't need the water, so that's the good news. But if you're up here and you did need it, that could be difficult. This must be that walk in the park G thought we might have today. Just reached this really pretty, shady spot. Lots of cedars and pines and blocking the sun there, and totally different look here all of a sudden for a few minutes. Right there in the center of the screen where those leaves are, my foot slipped under that root, and I didn't realize that there was a hole under it. So fortunately nothing came out of it, but that could be a dangerous spot for somebody. If it fell forward, it'd be a broken foot, a broken leg, and Lord knows what else. So we're down to about 4,573 feet, and I believe that has to be Mount Rogers over there. I don't see anything higher. It's northeast of where we are right now, and I'm pretty sure that's it. So you can see that we've gone much lower than the earlier pictures I took of it. But so we've come to this big boulder. She says it looks like a loaf of bread. You think he's hungry?
Well, good morning. Nancy and I are here at Elk Garden. Nancy's going to hike from Elk Garden here and over to Massey Gap, which is up in the Highlands where the ponies are. It should be a good day.
Get to see the ponies today. God bless everyone. Get out and hike. All right, so we'll be crossing the street. going up kind of to the left of that first little saddle. It may be that G will be able to see me up there some. We'll find out when I get up there. I believe that little bump up there may be Mount Rogers. That may not be the very top of it, but maybe where Thomas Knob's shelter is. It's supposed to be a view from up there, so we'll see. Looking for a good day. Mount Rogers Summit, which we're not actually going to go to, 4.5 miles, Virginia Highlands Horse Trail. They can ride their horses off that way, and then we're going to go off to the left here. I think he's taking my picture. So that first little jaunt up the hill came up about 3/10 of a mile. Started at 44.49. White blaze there on that pole is the last place we could see the trailhead parking lot. And we are headed to 54 or something. It's right at 1,000 feet. Got a nice view from up here. For now, let's just continue northbound. So we came out of the meadow, and now we're traveling in some wooded area. And it kind of looks like we're going to be in and out of woods up here, maybe. Looks like we've come in 1 mile from the Elk Garden trailhead. So in that mile, we've come up 400 feet. We're at 48, 49, I believe it is. Well, we're about 1.5 miles in, and we've reached a fairly leveled off area here. No one calls this a campsite. I don't see any fireplaces where anybody has camped here before, but if you needed to, you could stealth camp in this area probably. We're right at about mile 495.1, and this stream is, I believe this is one of them that's mentioned on the Gut Hooks app. Since we did the switchback at mile 2, we've had quite a few rocks and rock steps, climbing over rocks. And you can see looking back southbound. They're not too bad, but they do slow you down. Well, it just keeps going and going. I will say that this 3rd mile of this, since the trailhead when we started this morning, is the toughest one, just because of so many rocks to work your way around. It is fun, just very slow. Oh, good, it's letting up just a little bit. This is a little better. And here we go again. We've made it to elevation 5226, and we're at mile 496. So we finally made it that 3 miles in. Well, we could walk out there and say hello to the ponies. These are just some before you actually get into the majority of the wild ponies that are up here. Guess it's good to watch where you step when you come out here. I did think about bringing some sugar cubes, but then I saw where they really prefer that you don't feed them, and they prefer that you don't pet them. Oh, a foal. She's watching me. This one looks fairly young. Might think I have something to feed them, but I don't, baby. I'm sorry. Yeah. But I do have a wonderful view. Christmas tree farms galore out there, way, way down in the valley. Beautiful, beautiful. I believe this is a freshly downed tree. Found this little campsite somebody has made, and there's their little fire ring. I guess you could call that a fire ring. Place for a tent here in 496.3. We've got 7/10 of a mile and about 250 feet up from where we are now to get to Thomas Knob Shelter. Well, we're at 5,217. This is considered a reliable water source by gut hooks, and I think we're going to cross another one here shortly. And it really does look good. It is flowing well. We're about 4/10 of a mile before Thomas Knob Shelter, 496.6. We just came from there. How do you not stop and take a picture when you see something like that? I love the mountains. I love hiking. Okay, better go. How can you not love this scene? This is the spot where if you want to go to the Mount Rogers summit, you go to the left up this way. Another sign up here that says no camping or fires beyond this point. And I believe it's about 350 feet up more. What you're going to find is all kind of trees like this, I believe. I've seen pictures of it, and those, and then like that one over there. Says no campfires. Almost looks like a little log cabin. Water behind the shelter. All these rocks in front of it make it kind of hard to get to. And we're just leaving Thomas Knob Shelter, and we have a fence stile to walk through here. And oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful? The Highlands of Virginia. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful view. Better get rolling. It's probably going to end up being dark. I'm taking so long. Oh good, no lock on it. Well, we're coming up on mile 498, and apparently there are a lot of campsites in this area. A few tents anyway. It's a little bit rolling up and down, but I'm sure there's a spot somewhere for a tent. All these rocks really work on your feet muscles, your ankle muscles, your calves, your knees, and your thighs. Front and back, gluteus muscles, back muscles, arm muscles, because you're using your pole so much. I don't know that there's a muscle that doesn't get working your way over these kind of rocks. And what's interesting to me is that in all the videos I've watched, dozens of different ones of this area, I don't remember anyone talking too much. I mean, some said it's rocky, but I don't remember seeing any videos, or I don't blame them. By the time you get here, you don't want a video. But I needed to rest, so I figured I'd stand here and let you see. But I don't remember anybody talking about this. So we are not in Pennsylvania, folks. This is almost at Grayson Highlands, heading northbound on the AT between after we've passed by Mount Rogers and the shelter. Oh, hello. I don't think I've been warned about this. I am sure there's no way you can get a sense of what I just climbed up, but I did. And now I'm at what the White Blazes are calling the high point in this little climb. I'm sure some people like to go up there because, look out there. But the next White Blaze seems to be over here.
and then it's out there. We're just going to keep going as soon as I get down this little maze of rocks here. It was fun. When you're really tired, it was pretty hard. Man, I would have loved this when I was young. I would have probably run away from home and lived in the woods and in the mountains. So I guess it's probably good I didn't know about them, or that we weren't close to them. Absolutely cool and beautiful. Oh, how I wish my camera would show everything that I see. Now, I watched all of Steve Walker's Thru Hiker videos, and from 2016, he talked about this area. I don't think he showed any videos of it. Don't blame him. I mean, he had miles to make every day, so you couldn't stop and do this and make miles. I'm resting again. When he said it was rocky, he wasn't kidding. From start to finish today, episode after episode of rocks have totally slowed down how fast I've been able to go. And it's been fun, but the views that you have, they're incredible. I love it. I would have liked to have known ahead of time. So hopefully, those of you who see this will know that when you leave Elk Garden, for the 5 miles I've done so far, 6 miles, you're going to deal with a lot of rocks, so just be prepared. Well, we're turning into the woods, headed towards Fat Man's Squeeze. The famous, or shall we call it infamous, Fat Man's Squeeze. Between a boulder and a cliff, according to gut hooks. And then a bunch of rocks downhill. Somebody thought that was funny. Oh. That's just me kind of sitting down, even though I didn't want to. Didn't plan it. That's called tired legs. All right, we made it. Huh. Yep, I think that was somebody's idea of a joke. Just when you thought it was over. All right. Gee's probably glad he missed this part. When he sees the videos, he'll be saying, I think I'm glad I was sick. But someday I'm going to bring him back and let him do it. Don't y'all think I should do that? I do too. Made it to the Massey Gap trail, and Gee is here to meet me. And we got about a half a mile, I think, to hike back to the...
Yeah, 4/10.
4/10 of a mile back to parking lot. And I may write letters to all the thru hikers that have never talked about the rocks on this particular segment of trail. But anyway, it was fun. It was just really hard. Would have been a lot more fun if we could have gone up to Thomas Knob, spent the night, and then come down the next day. But still, everybody's fine and all is good. God bless everyone and good night.